Hi everyone, in this video, I'll be sharing to you how I created this landscape mountain in GAEA and how I applied this layer blended material onto it. It's quite easy if you've done a lot of mistakes like me, so I just would like to share my progress on my learning. So let's begin. So first I'm going to show you what I did in GAEA. I just recently discovered this from a friend who suggested how to create mountains very easily, and this is what I've come up with. So it's node-based as you can see and pretty straightforward too. So what I did is I just went to the terrain and then select a landscape of my preference. Okay, let's delete. Just going to show you what my node looks like. So got a mountain here and added some Perlin noise and a height map, and then I combined those two so it would look like this and added a bit of erosion, exported it in Unreal. So select this one, take a look on this 1009, and then make sure it's height because we're making a height map. And then from here inside build, let's go to build settings. So I'm using a free version, that's why I can only render in 1K, and this are the default values. I want this tick so that it's easier for me to locate them. And then other than that, I hit close and you just press this build. It will build your mountain and then it will save on the path that you want it to be located. So make sure that it's PNG. Also, if you guys are using a height map that you just downloaded on Google, like you search images and use height map and you're wondering why it looks jagged, like pixelated jagged, it's probably because it's 8-bit. I highly suggest that the height map is 16-bit so that it won't look pixelated and frustrating to look at. I committed that mistake a few days ago and it's really frustrating. Let's go back to Unreal and let's create this one. So I'm gonna create a new level. So I go to File, New Level, select the basic, and then just save selected. Well, for me, save selected because I have an existing file. And then from here, I'm gonna delete this floor because we won't be needing that. And then here is the fun part. We're going to create or import the height map that we have. So go to selection mode, go to landscape, and then from manage, go to new, and then let's import from file. From height map file, press the three dotted lines, and this is my height map. Press this one and hit open. So you might be wondering, why is the preview of the grids is so tall? In comparison to mine, it's flat. Adjustment that we could do is reduce the scale, maybe too high, maybe 25. Okay, I think this will do for me. And then I won't change anything. As you can see, height map resolution is 1009, same as what we see in here. So there won't be any stretching on the map here. So let's try, hit import, and let's just wait for a bit. And there we have it. We have our mountain. Let me just toggle off the visibility of this exponential fog so that, you could see it more clearly. And then from here, let's try applying a layer blended material onto our mountain. So in order to do that, let's just save this first and rename it to a different file. Save current level. And then let's name it probably GAEA mountain. Hit save. Perfect. Go back to our viewport since we're going to make a material. So let's go to map. Let's create a new material. So right click, go to material, and then let's rename this as master material mountain. And then double click. Then inside the material graph, let's create a landscape layer blend. Inside this node, we are given choice on how many textures that we want to input. So for now, let's use 3 different textures or materials, which is grass, rock, and then index 2 is sand. We are going to plug in our texture samples inside this layer blend. So if you're using different software, 3D software, this may come in familiarity to you because there are a lot of blending materials in there. So now let's type texture samples. Just right click, texture sample, and in here, let's plug in inside texture our grass. So I'm using a starter content. So the grass and the other materials that we're going to be using are the default materials that is available inside UE5. So let me just duplicate this. Duplicate. And let's change this into rock. Oh, where is it? Oh, there you go. And then this one into sand. There we go. And let's plug this in here. Rock to rock layer and sand to sand layer. And then let's plug this into base color. Now let's see what it's going to look like. So select our landscape here here in the outliner or in the viewport, and then let's look for the landscape material. This one, and let's type mm_mountain. There we go. And there we have it. However, it's very shiny and it's still black, probably because it still doesn't know what texture or material it's going to use. So we're going to instruct the mountain to use this specific textures or materials. So let's go to selection mode, landscape, go to paint. As you can see, it can already read the materials, but it doesn't know what to apply. So let's go to the create layer info, weight blended layer, hit save, and let's do that to the following. Save, and then, so it's a little bit shiny. Let me just change the shininess of this. Let's go back to our master material. Let's double click this light here, close the others so we won't be confused, and let's create a constant. So what constant does is reduce the shininess of the material that we have right now. So let's do that. Plug this in inside roughness. Right now it's mirror like. We don't want that. So what we're gonna do is change the value from 0 to 1, hit apply, and then save. And let's see what it looks like. Now it's not that shiny. However, it's all grass. So what we can do is add some sand onto it. I think it would look a lot better if we add an ocean on the surrounding mountain. What we're gonna do is go here to the quickly add to the project drop down menu, all classes. Let's type water, get the water body ocean, select and drag it on the topmost part of the mountain. And there we have it. We have an ocean. However, it doesn't look like the mountain that it used to look like a while ago. So we're gonna do some changes here. First, let me take a look at the water body ocean instance, and then the alpha blend, let's change this into max. All right, and then let's try reducing the location of the z-axis, and let's try playing with this one. Now our mountain is so small, so what we can do is make some adjustments. So I went inside this one, the component, and I'm just experimenting. Okay, I think this will do. So there are different values that you could use, and it really depends on your preference on what value you want to use, so that in order to achieve what you want it to look like in the viewport. So let's go back to our landscape and start painting. So I'm gonna use the sand layer and texture the sides of it. So we could change the brush size into different sizes, like this small or super big. And also the fall off, the purpose of the fall off is if we want it to be a smooth transition of the texture or very sharpen or hard. So for me, I typically use 0.5, and then let me just reduce the brush size to a good amount so that it won't affect larger portions of the mountain. I'm not quite sure if I should still use the rock texture, because I think the green value or the vegetation and the sand value will do. So let me just color all the corner edges of the mountain. There we go. So let's try the rock area. I wonder where. Maybe here. And let me just reduce the strength so that it won't be that hard on the eye. You know, guys, I bet you're judging me on what it looks like right now. Okay, I think this will do. And then what we're gonna do is let's explore the map. So let me get my player start in the outliner, and let's look for that character and place it somewhere where we could see the transition. Okay, so from here, let's hit the play button. Awesome. All right, so we could see the applied layer blended material on our mountain. We could also see on the top the rock material, grass, and the sand. However, the tiling is so obvious on this mountain, so I think what we could do is add a little bit of a variation so that when a character is moving on the terrain, we won't get distracted on looking on this, tileable texture. So let's go back to our master material mountain, and let me open the UE5 for comparison purposes later on. Let me just put it on a different screen. Open this one, and then what we're gonna do is copy paste this, and then let me drag this one down here because it's gonna be a little bit messy. So first, let's create a texture coordinates, and then let's create a scalar from the word scale, so we could increase or decrease the size. So let me just change this to 0.5, and we won't do anything here, and plug this into a multiply. So A and then B, and then plug it in here in the UV because it's the UV that we want to have some changes. And then from here, let's create a vector parameter. So this is going to help us with the color, make it white so that it could retain the the green stuff here. And then let's add some multiply. Then from here, plug this here, and then this one in here. And then let's plug. Okay, before we plug that in, so let me just grab this one and save it to pure ref. We'll be looking at it later. And then let's go back to our mountain. Let's plug this one here. Hit apply, save, and let's see what it looks like. There's a very obvious change here. So let's take a look. So as you can see, there's already a big change happened in the material. This one has a narrower and obvious tiling in comparison to this one. It's near the camera, and the texture looks a lot more less repetitive in comparison to this one. But we could still improve this. So let's do a lot more tweaking inside the material. So let's add this as a comment. Let's right click, do it again, comment, click. There we go. And let's make this a color, micro color. Let's duplicate this, and then we're going to rename this. Oops, copy paste. Let's rename this as color tint variation. We're gonna change the tint. Then let's change this into a bit of yellow. Okay, white. Let's create another vector parameter, and this one is different shade or tint. Change this into this one. Perfect. Plug this in here. And then we're going to make another one. So this one would help us create a macro variation on it. So let's copy paste this, plug it in here, and then in the texture samples, we are going to look for the macro variation. So this is a default texture that we could grab inside Unreal Engine. And then let me just make a comment. This is the macro variation. And then in here, we're going to create a lerp node. So inside lerp, it's like we're blending different textures and using this grayscale. Okay, so in here, we're going to plug the lerp to our layer grass, and let's see what it looks like. So hit apply, hit save, and then let's go to the mountain. You can grab again. All right, so there's a change in the tint. This one is a bit of white in tint, while this one is a little bit of a yellowish tint. Because we added yellow on it, it looks less boring to look at in comparison to the first material that we created. So let's put our character inside to explore. Awesome. As you can see, the character inside this, the textures are not tiling in comparison to the other one. So let's screen grab for us to see. Sorry if my voice, it sounds different lately. It's because I caught a flu the other day and still healing. Okay, let's use this first one and let's see what it looks like just for comparison purposes. Hit apply, hit save, go here. So on the left side, this is where we applied some macro variation to it, and this one is just the default application of the texture samples. So as we notice, this one is a little bit of a, like, I don't know, stretched, and the repetitiveness of the grass is obvious once you take a closer look onto it. In comparison to the left side, this has the variation and it looks a lot better compared to the right side. It would be great if you guys could try this out because it's really awesome, like learning new things. Let me just hit escape there, and there we have it. And also, if we want to change the the time, make it more a little bit dramatic, Control L on the keyboard and don't release those buttons and use the left mouse button just to rotate what kind of sunset or sunrise you're looking for. I'll probably create a new video or a different video where I'll be sharing to you what I've learned on applying some foliages on the mountain, and probably a different approach on applying materials on the mountain procedurally instead of doing it manually. So thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. It really means a lot. I hope we all continue learning. Thank you. Bye.